When hope is gone, undo this lock and send me forth on a moonlit walk. Release restraint level 0. Hey kids, wanna see a dead body?
Hi guys, this is the Void of the Ravenclaw. Welcome back to another fanfiction story. If you'd like this type of content, smash the like button and subscribe for future updates that I do post on my community tab frequently. Now before we move forward, this part might be a tad bit shorter. Not by how short, not entirely positive on that. So I do apologize ahead of time. Now, let's continue where we last left off in our story. Master, I sense many life forms on that planet. I sense it as well. But unfortunately, none of them have the signature that a Green Lantern would have. Let's go and search another sector. Deku blasts off of the surface of the moon, leaving a small crater when he leapt off the surface. The moon circling around a populated planet. Suddenly, Deku changed directions and was heading towards a heavily populated planet filled with humanoid. Well, it has filled with humanoid, some sort of civilization, right at the border of the sector that is protected by the Green Lantern Corps. Their civilization's not too advanced. They haven't got to the point where they could space travel. But the civilization is nowhere near primitive. They have technology, but not advanced enough for space travel. Why did we stop here, Master? I've been going about this the wrong way. Instead of searching for the Green Lanterns, I'll just lure one of us to us by causing mass destruction. I sense many Green Lanterns not too far away from this planet. Deku stopped his flying when he got close enough to the planet and extended his hand above his head, charging up a energy that eventually formed into a huge green sphere of pure energy. Deku shot the humongous construct of energy in the form of a spear into the planet. Once it made contact, it instantly managed to rupture the core of the planet. Not even a second later, the world's beginning to show signs of changing. Cracking is beginning to form until the planet blew up from the green energy sphere. Now we just have to sit and wait. I highly doubt the Green Lanterns wouldn't have noticed a planet disappearing so close to their sector. What if they don't notice it, Master? Then I'll destroy another planet. The planet I just destroyed was destined to destroy itself. I just accelerated their destruction. There are several similar worlds not too far away from our position. Deku didn't have to wait long for a Green Lantern to show up upon the scene where our planet once stood. Only bits of of the world remain scattered all around. Deku saw an extremely buff pink alien wearing a Green Lantern uniform. The moment the Green Lantern arrived and scanned the destroyed planet, Deku decided to approach carefully. The Green Lantern was unaware of Deku's presence because of his invisibility. What the hell? Whoever did this is gonna pay. So many lives lost. It couldn't have been a natural disaster by some random meteor or asteroid. There's no other evidence. This was clearly a deliberate attack on this world. And my ring is detecting an unknown energy source. It's clear this was an attack. I need to return back to Oa to inform the Guardians of what I found. Kilowog bolted back to Oa, the homeworld of the Green Lanterns, to report back to the Guardians of what he discovered. He was unaware he was being followed. Once they arrived at Oa, the homeworld of the Green Lantern Corps, Deku easily overwhelmed Kilowog's mind and took over his body, and controlled the Green Lantern's body to get information he needs. If he showed up in person, he would stick out too much. He needs to use a Green Lantern as a puppet. The mind-controlled Kilowog began entering the planet's atmosphere and began to approach the Green Lantern HQ. As Deku could see Green Lanterns through this Green Lantern's eyes, seeing they're flying about, going about their daily activities. Kilowog greeted his fellow Green Lanterns and entered the headquarters. After he flew down to the ground and made a direct pathway to the record hall, where they store all of their information they have gathered over the lifespan of the Green Lantern Corps since its existence. Someone walked in. "Hey, big guy, I saw you come into the record hall. How was your patrol?" Deku scanned the mind of this alien and found out this Green Lantern that approached him. Some sort of friendship. He greeted the human Green Lantern, like how Kellogg would, by crossing his arms and looking at Hal, and gave him a smirk. "Pretty boring. How was yours, pilot boy?" Well, pilot head. "Pretty much the same. What are you even doing here?" "Doing yourself a little refresher?" "Something like that. Never took you for a bookworm. There's a lot of things you don't know about me, Hal. You might excuse me, I have things to do." "Sure thing, buddy. But before you go, how's the sister doing? You were talking about her the last time we talked." "She's doing fine." Hal's friendly face turned into a frown as he made a wall construct in front of the doorway. "You're a pretty good actor. I'll give you that. But there's one mistake you made. The Big Lug doesn't have a sister. Of my knowledge, at least. There's one thing the Big Lug doesn't do, is do refreshers. Kilowog would never enter the record hall willingly. He always hated reading." Before Hal could say anything else, Deku slammed the overbuff alien fist across the human's face. disorientated him, dazing him, and getting behind the human and placing him in a headlock, cutting off his air supply, eventually knocking him out. That was close. Very clever human. I'm going to have to be more careful moving forward. I can feel this alien fighting back, trying to get free from my control. It's a shame I can't use this ring while I'm in control of this Green Lantern. Outside of flying, of course. It's quite a fascinating device, these power rings that these Green Lanterns wield. I need to finish up here. After several hours, he finally got enough information he had to knock out Hal a couple times when he regained consciousness. It took him a few hours to siphon through all the information. When he exited the record hall, a Green Lantern approached him and informed him he's been summoned by the Guardians. They're waiting for his arrival. He simply nodded at the Green Lantern, and using the memories of this alien, he made his way towards the chamber where all the Guardians usually hold for their little council meetings when they summon a Green Lantern. Once Deku entered the hall of all the Guardians, you can see all the Guardians on large chairs standing all around the room, looking down upon the meat puppet he has currently control over, like they're a higher being. Deku stared upwards at the small blue people that have white hair. He could only give them a smirk at the strange looking creatures. They noticed his facial expressions as well. Who are you? We know this Green Lantern very well, and I could tell he's being controlled. Release my lantern at once. You're pretty smart for midgets. Unfortunately, I can't do as you say. Not yet, at least. I'll return this pitiful life form in due time. My shore blue friend. In the meantime, why don't we have a little chat? All of the Guardians whisper each other as the most leveled-headed Guardian took charge of the conversation. Very well, considering you have a hostage. In any hostility we show will only endanger one of our lanterns. That is in what the humans would refer as a checkmate. Must be quite powerful to take control over one of our lanterns' minds. That's not an easy feat to do, especially when they're equipped with our power rings. You have no idea. For your question, it's quite easy to take control over this one. He's what you call a musclehead, not too much going up upstairs. So may I ask, what exactly do you want? I already got what I want. I used this insect as a puppet and gathered enough information in your record hall. The Guardians were surprised. There's nothing dangerous in the records. The records only entail events during the run of the Green Lantern Corps. They were baffled. They figured someone like him would want to go after one of their many super weapons they have locked away on this planet, or even the Green Lantern Battery Corps, where all the Green Lanterns charge up their rings when they're back in Oa, when they're not using their lanterns for recharging on the go. But whatever creature has this Green Lantern under its control, only wanted information they had in the records. Such information are in the record halls are only used to teach the younger recruits that haven't officially been inducted into the Lantern Corps yet. It's basic history of the Lantern Corps in their past battles alongside with different planets and different alien civilizations that's been recorded, and all the different Lantern Corps that came into existence. There's even some information in the record hall that goes over that just surface, like the Yellow Lantern Corps that's being run by that traitor. By that traitor that betrayed the Green Lantern Corps because of his thirst for power, Sinestro. The Guardians had so much hope for Sinestro before he turned traitor and rebelled against the Lantern Corps and the Guardians. Things are changing for the better because of the human Hal Gordon. Hal, I'm not sure. Jordan or Gordon? I don't think it's Gordon, but I'm not totally sure on Hal's last name. But whatever void Sinestro left when he betrayed the Order, Hal took in his place. The Guardians knew full well that Sinestro seemed very hostile towards Hal when he first arrived. They figured he would get over it, and they would bond as comrades. It was just only a matter of time. They would never expected him to get jealous and turn traitor. But the damage that Sinestro made is slowly fading away by the achievements of Hal since he's became a Green Lantern. He's a remarkable life form. Not all the Guardians have respect towards that human, but the majority of them do, and the ones that don't are slowly coming around. I do have a question for you, Guardian. Very well, we will answer to our best of our ability. Most appreciated. I've always been curious. Why doesn't any of your Green Lantern just defend and subdue? Never use lethal force. It's been bugging me. It's quite simple. The Green Lantern Corps is a galaxy-wide police force. We do not kill. We made that mistake once, and we're not going to repeat it. Not saying they can't. There's ways around it. But for now, they're unable. The Power Rings literally cannot use lethal force in their current state. Interesting. Not very effective. Not very effective at all. Well, it looks like my time here is coming to an end. This alien is finally getting back, breaking free. I guess I'll give you back this insect. He sure is being persistent. Before you go, who are you? Name's Deku. You'll be seeing me around sooner or later, Guardians. But before I go, a fair warning. I'll go on a little lantern hunting. Suggest you keep all your stronger members on standby. It would be too boring if your most strongest Green Lanterns weren't ready for action when we meet once again. Until then, Guardians. You release control. Who would have thought the Green Lantern Corps is run by a bunch of blue midgets? It is quite amusing. Despite their looks, I could tell these Guardians are quite powerful on their own. Best to stay on my toes moving forward. I believe we're going to have to postpone our little hunt. I can feel my next evolution is fast approaching. Ready, Master? Indeed. This stage did not last long. Deku flew towards one of many barren planets in this solar system. He made it to one of the dead worlds. Deku was emanating some sort of energy off of him that engulfed him. Then suddenly that energy turned solid and hard. When the flash went off and dissipated, you could see a large purple and green crystal floating up in the air, hovering above the ground. His second evolution to his third didn't take long. It only took 3 days to start to see cracks in the crystal. On the 6th day, the cracks was a lot more visible until the whole crystal shattered, revealing Deku's new evolution state. Deku clearly got a lot taller and looks a bit older. Right now, Deku looks like he's around 14 years old. Master, you have awoken. Yes, I have, Void. I feel much more powerful, like my power's more focused when it was prior. Master, how many evolutions do you have until you reach your final form? I could feel I have at least 2 more evolutions before I reach my full potential. I believe we've kept the Green Lanterns waiting long enough. Shall we start the hunt? With pleasure, Master. Deku left the planet with Void in his hands, flying through space. Deku immediately stopped, sensing a familiar energy signature. Well, Void, those are clearly not Green Lanterns, but I believe these Red Lanterns would be a good start. I believe we found our home world straight ahead of us. Let's have some fun, shall we? Deku formed a smirk on his face and followed one of the Red Lanterns to their home planet. Deku was following the Red Lantern without being spotted by any of the other Red Lanterns by turning himself invisible. As we cut to one of the Red Lanterns that was given command while Atrocitus is off-world, finding new recruits for the Red Lantern Corps. Razor could hear the sounds of battle outside of the room. Razor was immediately put on edge by the lack of noise coming from the outside until the doors were blasted off as several Red Lanterns come shooting through the doorway, hitting the wall of the room on the other side. As a figure walked through the door, revealing itself. So this is the home world of the Red Lantern Corps. Doesn't look too impressive like Oa. It looks a bit primitive. So, would Atrocitus be home, by the way? As his glowing green eye glows bright green, as green sparks emanate from his eye, staring at Razor with no emotion on his expression on his face. Who the hell are you, and how did you get past all the other Red Lanterns? Where are they? Oh, you mean these? As Deku drops several power rings, red power rings, as he drops them from the palm of his hand onto the floor, as each ring made a clank noise when it made contact to the ground. As the sound echoed throughout the room. Second later, they all blast off to find a new host. You could have them back. They were very persistent trying to find a new host, but they eventually calmed down. while I did my own examination over these power rings. A fascinating concept. According to the records from the Green Lantern Corps, you use these red rings by using rage to fill you with power. Interesting. I'm going to have to ask you, where is your master? I've had enough of this. You seem eager to die. Very well. I'll humor you, Lantern. Give me your best shot. Deku grabbed the nearest Red Lantern by the face and slammed him into the ground. Then he proceeded to dodge and weave around all of the attacking Red Lantern that was in the room that are surrounding him, while Razor is in the back, charging up a shot from his power ring as his ring is glowing bright crimson red. He's clearly gathering energy. A pulse of energy emanated from Deku as all the Red Lanterns that were surrounding Deku was all shot backwards into the wall by an unknown force, while Razor took the chance to shoot off his beam of energy from his ring directly towards Deku. Before the beam of energy could go not even halfway towards Deku, a large green crystal appeared right in front of the red beam of energy and simply absorbed it into itself, surprising Razor, then releasing that same energy that the crystal just absorbed back into Razor, hitting him dead on, making him get hit by his own attack, making him shooting backwards out of the building and skidding across the ground. Meanwhile, with Deku, he shot out his purple chains at all of the remaining Red Lanterns in the room as they all turned to ash as his chains recede back into his sleeve of his coat, like they have a mind of their own. When Razor got to his feet, he noticed his opponent is approaching him. He immediately created red claws over his hands, using his power ring to make claw-like constructs, and charged forward, swinging wildly at Deku. When he got in striking range, Deku instantly dodged and weaved around the slashes from the claws-like constructs and grabbed Razor by the wrist with both of his hands and rammed his knee into his stomach. As a small shockwave was created, Razor proceeded to cough up spit. Deku let go of his wrist, then slammed his fist across Razor's face as he goes skidding backwards across the ground, digging up the dirt as he goes. He finally stopped moving by smashing into a small mountain that's nearby. Might have put too much strength in that last attack. I'm going to have to reseal all my powers because of my evolution. I'm guessing every time I evolve, I'm going to have to reseal some of my power so I don't become overly too powerful for the lesser insects that I face. It looks like he's getting some more reinforcements. As several Red Lanterns arrive on the scene, charging at Deku with their power rings ignited, with several blade-like constructs being thrown at his direction. Deku simply avoid all of the red weapon constructs being thrown at him. Razor uses this chance to get close and strike Deku across the face. Deku proceeds to skid backwards from the force of the punch, and a small burst of red energy from his ring when his power ring made contact with Deku's face, giving him a bit more damage. You have excellent battle instincts. The fact that you managed to land a solid hit upon me Red Lantern. Consider me impressed. You are far more powerful than any Red Lantern that I've come across so far. Let's see what else you are capable of when I put on the pressure. Razor couldn't even see Deku move as he felt a sharp pain in his face as Deku reappeared and slammed his elbow into Razor's face, then land a right hook on the right side of his body, right into his ribs, then followed up by grabbing Razor by the head and slamming his knee into his face repeatedly, then finishing up his combo attack with a palm strike in the chest, making Razor skid backwards as he coughed up spit from his mouth from the pure force of the assault that he just experienced. Deku was moving so fast that Razor couldn't even react. Deku was clearly holding back his strength. Don't quit on me now, Red Lantern. We're not even close to be done. Razor pushed past the pain and got to his feet and created a huge sword from his ring, making a sword construct, and swinging it downwards towards Deku. Deku only swung his arm sideways, going right through the sword construct like it was glass as it shattered right in front of Razor. As Deku proceeded to walk towards Razor slowly, but with a smirk on his face. You're going to have to do a lot better than that, little Lantern. There's all that rage you had before, Red Lantern. I wonder where it went. I hope you're not one of those one-trick ponies. Razor has heard that phrase before by the Green Lantern named Hal. That set off pure rage in him as he charged blindly. At least that's what it seems like when it comes to Deku. Deku decided to test the waters of Razor's newfound speed and wasn't disappointed. He easily dodged around his fist and shot energy shots from his power ring and scattered shots of red energy. So did the rest of the Red Lantern Corps, firing upon Deku. Four lanterns showed up to do the same, as their shots from their power rings are creating smoke. When the smoke was still active, Razor created a huge hammer construct and swung it through the smoke, hitting Deku head-on as he shoots out of the smoke and head backwards into a nearby mountain. Deku went through the mountain and slammed his hand into the ground to stop his skidding any further. Deku didn't have time to breathe as the first wave of red lanterns were flying towards his directions in the pairs of three. As they're making their own constructs, they're all pointed. Two of them are like swords and one of them is the axe. Black energy begins to swirl around Deku's right hand as it formed into a scythe. Then he swung void, cutting all three of the Red Lantern hands off of their body that holds their ring. They instantly fell to the ground dead, removing their rings from their hands. The moment their rings left their body, they died instantly as the ring signifies their new heart when they became Red Lanterns. So removing a Red Lantern ring is, without a doubt, most likely a instant death. You can survive, but you had to have medical attention as soon as possible. As the red rings begin to fly off the severed hands of the now deceased Red Lanterns. Razor used the distraction because of the other Red Lanterns, to form a bladed weapon in his right hand in form of a sword construct, about the length of a katana, but a little bit thicker than actual a katana. It kind of looks like almost like a broadsword a little bit. As he bolted forward and swing his blade towards Deku, Deku simply blocked the attack with Void, without even looking at Razor, and raised his hand with his opposite hand at the incoming Red Lanterns that are coming charging him from the front, and extended his hand outwards as energy began to swirl around Deku's palm, as green and purple energy swirl around, forming into a round orb of energy, as there was a bright flash as it engulfed the entire Red Lanterns. When the flash ended, all Razor could see is skeletons, all scattered all around, as their rings shoot off to find a new host, because their current host is no longer living. Has never seen someone kill Red Lantern so easily before. He wouldn't be lying if he wasn't scared shitless. But Razor's not new to the battlefield. So he composed himself. You saw Razor a bit distracted, so he pushed Void towards Razor, breaking their short power struggle, then hit Razor across the face with his opposite hand, or the opposite end of his scythe, that's basically Void, and disappeared from his hand, then landed several head strikes with his fist into Razor's face, making him go and skidding backwards. As hundreds of power rings are finally, starting to shoot off from them being all killed. Not all of them has flew off yet. Deku approached Razor, who is still on the ground, as he grabbed him by his neck and lifted him up in the air. You're quite a interesting Red Lantern. I can see you have much room to grow. Who knows, you might actually be a challenge one day. But for now, let's test out your pain tolerance. Shall we, Little Lantern? Deku extended one of his index finger towards Razor's knee and shot a beam of green and purple energy out of his fingertips, quite similar to a move that you would see Frieza from Dragon Ball Z use, his Death Beam. Deku instantly shot another beam of energy out of his fingertips into another part of Razor's body, making the alien scream out in pain, while Deku has formed a grin on his face and a firm grip on his neck to make sure he doesn't break free, as he shoots rapidly energy shots into different vital points of Razor's body for several hours, as you can hear Razor screams echoing all around. Please, stop. Mercy. Sorry, Little Lantern, fresh out of mercy, but I do have plenty of wrath. Deku placed 2 index fingers on his chest as Razor screams out in pain from being electrocuted, as you see purple and green electricity emanating off of Razor from being electrocuted, as Deku formed a purple and green energy ball in his hand and shoved it into Razor's stomach, as he shot off like a rocket, skidding across the ground, hitting a couple boulders along the way, finally stopping, ground being dug up from him trailing across the ground so roughly, and finally stopping at a more sturdy boulder, Deku lifted up Razor in the air, using his telekinesis and slamming the red lantern into several objects, like the ground and nearby mountains, and lifting up in the air and slamming him back to the ground repeatedly, as blood began to splatter on the ground. As you see, a beat up and battered Razor is laying on the ground, barely conscious and breathing heavy. Before you lose consciousness, little lantern. The name's Deku. We'll be seeing each other real soon. When the next time we meet, you better be stronger. You're far too weak to entertain me, little lantern. Nighty night. As he extended his hand outwards towards Razor and released a burst of green and purple energy, hitting Razor dead on. He instantly passed out because of the pain. Deku begins to float in the air. When he got high enough, he flashed green and purple light and reappeared in outer space, just outside of the planet atmosphere, and blasted off in another direction to find more lanterns to play with. This was only a pit stop from his little lantern hunting tour across the galaxy. Where are we going next, Master? To find one of these yellow lanterns that were mentioned in the record hall back on Oa. I want to see if they're more powerful than the Green Lantern and the Red Lantern Corps. What information I know, their power rings are filled by fear, a strange emotion to draw on for power. And who knows, we might come across a Green Lantern, a Red Lantern, along the way. Master, you really did a number on that Red Lantern Corps. You pretty much crippled them. And they'll be fine. Atrocitus is still alive. As long as he's still breathing, the Red Lantern Corps will survive and rebuild. But they did take a major hit by losing a large number of their corps. It was necessary to send Atrocitus a little message. After all, I only started. After all, I'm a man of my word. I told the Guardians I was going lantern hunting, but I didn't specify what Lantern Corps I'll be targeting. Master, are we going to target all of the Corps? All of the Lantern Corps? You bet I am. I can't pass up such fun while I have free time. We're going after the Green Lantern, Red Lanterns, Yellow Lanterns, Blue Lanterns, Orange Lanterns, and the Star Sapphire Lanterns as well. And we might pay the Blue Lanterns a little visit. We're going after all of them. There's probably more I'm unaware of. We'll find them. Then I'll have some little fun with them. I won't eradicate their core. I'll just have a bit of fun. Not that I'm complaining, Master, but is there a specific reason why we're hunting them? I don't think they have wronged you in any way, that I recall. This is nothing personal, Void. I'm only doing this because it amuses me. It's a perfect chance to test out my new evolution, and the powers I have gained. The more I battle, the more I use my abilities. The better I get by using such abilities, the closer I get to my next evolution. I need to gain as much power before I clash with Darkseid. Darkseid is still a very powerful new god. I'm uncertain if I could beat him as I am now. I might have surprised him by taking brief control over his Omega Factor when he shot those Omega beams out of his eyes towards me. That trick won't work a second time. I no longer have the element of surprise on my side. Darkseid is no fool. And Darkseid is not the only powerful being out there. Destiny and fate is a funny thing. I might be able to see outcomes and visions in my mind, but that doesn't mean I can see the future. I only see several possibilities that could occur in different scenarios, in milliseconds. Deku began his search, but couldn't find any signs of any other lanterns until he stumbled upon a signature of great fear leading back to Earth. Interesting. What would a yellow lantern have to do in the Milky Way galaxy? It looks like we're heading back to Earth, Void. This should be interesting. That's where we're going to stop it. Hope you guys have a good night and day, judged by time zones, and I'll catch you in the next video.